Imagine you are standing in the most secret building in the world. All around you are giant machines making loud noises, turning cotton into expensive cloth. These machines are the reason your country is the richest on Earth. Now, imagine a man walking through the factory. He looks like a normal tourist. He is polite, he smiles, and he asks simple questions. But behind his eyes, he's doing something dangerous. He's taking pictures with his brain. He is memorizing every wheel, every belt, and every screw. This man is Francis Cabot Lowell, and he's about to commit a crime that will change America forever. The year was 1810. At this time, Great Britain was like the Silicon Valley of the world. They had the best technology, especially for making clothes. They were so protective of their machines that they wouldn't let anyone take drawings or notes out of the country. They wanted the rest of the world to keep buying from them. If you were caught spying on their machines, you could go to jail for a very long time. But America was tired of being Britain's customer. America wanted to be Britain's competitor. Francis Cabot Lowell was a businessman from Boston. He was smart, but his business was struggling because of wars between Britain and France. He realized that if America wanted to be truly free, it needed its own factories. But there was one problem. Americans didn't know how to build the power loom. The power loom was a magic machine that could weave cloth automatically using water power. Without it, American factories were slow and weak. Lowell decided to go on a vacation to England. He told the British authorities he was just there for his health. For 2 years, he visited different textile mills. He was a very charming man, so the British factory owners let him in. They thought, he's just an American businessman, what can he do? They didn't know that Lowell had a mathematical mind. Every time he looked at a machine, he was calculating the size of the gears and the speed of the belts. At night, in his hotel room, he would close his eyes and rebuild the machine in his mind. He didn't write anything down because he knew the guards would search his bags at the docks. He was a human camera. In 1812, war broke out between America and Britain. Lowell knew he had to get home fast. When he got to the ship, British guards searched every inch of his luggage. They looked for drawings, blueprints, and hidden notes. They found nothing. They let him go, thinking he was just a harmless traveler. They had no idea that the most valuable secret in the British Empire was sitting right inside Lowell's head. When Lowell landed in Boston, he didn't waste a second. He met with a genius mechanic named Paul Moody. Lowell told him, "I have the designs in my head, but I need you to help me build them." This was much harder than it sounds. Imagine trying to build a complex Lego set from memory without the instruction book. Some parts were blurry in Lowell's mind. They spent months in a locked room, building models, failing and trying again. Lowell was also a master of business strategy. He knew that building one machine wasn't enough. He needed a mega corporation. He did something that was very new at the time. He started the Boston Manufacturing Company. He convinced his rich friends to invest their money. This was one of the first times in history that a group of people owned a company together. This is what we now call a corporation. Lowell wasn't just stealing a machine. He was inventing the way modern businesses work today. They finally finished the machine in 1814. It worked. But Lowell did something even better than the British. In England, one factory would spin the thread. and a different factory would weave the cloth. Lowell said, "That's too slow. Let's do everything in one building." He put the raw cotton in at one end, and finished cloth came out the other end. This was the all-in-one factory. It was faster, cheaper, and more powerful than anything in England. Lowell had taken a stolen idea and made it better. Now that Lowell had the machines, he needed workers. But back then, people thought factories were dirty, evil places. They had heard stories about the poor children working in Samuel Slater's mills. Lowell knew that if he wanted to be successful, he needed a better brand image. He came up with a revolutionary idea. He decided to hire young women from the farms of New England. These women became known as the Lowell Girls. To make their parents feel safe, Lowell built clean boarding houses for them. He gave them libraries, music lessons, and even a magazine they could write in. This was the first time in American history that women could leave the farm and earn their own money. It felt like freedom. But like every power and money story, there was a hidden trap. Even though the environment was cleaner, the work was brutal. The Lowell girls worked 13 hours a day. The noise of the machines was so loud it could make you deaf. The air was filled with tiny bits of cotton that hurt their lungs. Lowell's company was making millions of dollars, but the women were only making a few dollars a week. Lowell had created a golden cage. He gave them a nice life, but he owned every hour of their day. This is the business strategy that many big tech companies use today. They give employees free food, gyms, and fun offices so they never want to leave. But in return, the employees work longer and harder than ever before. Lowell was the first person to realize that if you take care of your workers' basic needs, you can extract more power from them. His factories became a money machine that never stopped. Francis Cabot Lowell died very young, at only 42 years old. He didn't live to see how big his dream became. After he died, his partners decided to build a whole city in his honor. They called it Lowell, Massachusetts. It was the first planned industrial city in America. It had miles of canals and dozens of giant brick factories. It was the Manchester of America. The wealth created by Lowell's stolen secret was unbelievable. It helped the North become much richer and more advanced than the South. Just like the cotton gin, Lowell's factories changed the balance of power in the country. But there is a final, darker secret. Where did the cotton for Lowell's mills come from? It came from the South. It came from the slave plantations. Lowell's clean factories in the North were fueled by the dirty labor of the South. The two systems were tied together by a golden thread of profit. So, what is the lesson of Francis Cabot Lowell? He was a man who used intellectual property theft to build a nation. He showed that you don't need to be an inventor to be a billionaire. You just need to be a great observer. He proved that one secret, carried in one man's head, is more powerful than an entire army. Today, we live in a world of corporate spying and data wars. Every time a company borrows a feature from another app, they are following in the footsteps of Lowell. He was a spy, a businessman, and a visionary. He stole a blueprint to build a country. He turned a quiet river into a roaring engine of wealth. His story reminds us that history isn't always made by the people who follow the rules. Sometimes, history is made by the people who know how to break them and get away with it. Francis Cabot Lowell didn't just steal a machine, he stole the future. And that is why, even today, his name is written on the walls of the city that money built.